Welcome back to episode 34 of the CLG Faithful Podcast. I'm your host, Nefarious, and I'll be giving the rundown of all things CLG this week. Now, all in all, there actually wasn't that much that happened. League of Legends Worlds play-ins have started, and you can go support your secondary League of Legends teams if you have any. Otherwise, you can just go and hope for some crazy upsets, and just enjoy it as it happens. In the world of CSGO, we originally had a match versus Immortals, and actually we didn't play Immortals. And, excuse me. So the reason for that is because there was a little bit of drama that happened, and Immortals essentially imploded. And all of this is due to a tweet from FNS. Now, I'm not going to go too much into this. If you want to get more details about it, you can obviously find it on the CLG sub, or just look up on the CSGO subreddit and then just follow a little bit up there. Now, what did happen is that CLG played at the Epicenter 2017 America's Closed Qualifier versus Luminosity Gaming. And this was a best-of-3 match to move on to the semifinals. And, as previously mentioned, we didn't go up against Immortals, we went against LG. So, in Game 1, CLG makes the mistake and doesn't ban Inferno. They've not been good at it at all ever since the overhaul of the map. And of course, how bad can it be, right? We don't learn from history. Well, it goes about as bad as you thought it would. Kusta has a few saving graces for CLG in the first half, but in the end, they still went 9 rounds in before they took the first win. That's terrible. Now, they end up losing the first half 5-10 in favor of LG, and the second half goes a little bit better, but ultimately LG only needs 6 wins to close it out, and they get it. CLG goes 6-6 in the second half, means we end up losing it 11-16. In Game 2, it's up on Mirage, and it's a little bit better of a map for CLG. They start off strong, going 3-0 early on before LG begins to even it up. From there, it's really close, both teams getting points apiece, and it's neck and neck. In the end, the half goes 7-8 in favor of LG. CLG, then they go and they hold the lead for a little bit, but LG is able to full buy, and it tips right back into LG's favor for quite some time. In the second half, it ends up showing a different story. LG wins the pistol round off a Showtime flank, and then snowballs the remainder of the round off the economy boost, and they take the map and ultimately the game 10-16. So ultimately, it was a pretty poor showing by the CLG boys. There's a lot of missed shots from everyone, and CLG really lives up to their name as some of the most inconsistent teams in North America, whether it be League, CSGO, or Smash. Man, we just can't seem to find our footing. Now, it should be noted that LG did almost beat Team Liquid, who are currently the #1 CSGO team, but still, we just look terrible right now. Unfortunate, that's the only major piece of CLG news that we have this week. Smash and League obviously didn't play, and as for Overwatch, well, the writing was kind of on the wall for some time. We lost Coach Cuddles, and we mentioned that in the last week's podcast, and we didn't even have a full team roster for quite some time. We're not going to buy into Overwatch League. Well, the official news came out that CLG Overwatch disbanded. And last but not least, we do have a little bit of news, a little bit of positive news actually, to end the week off. Elixir confirmed on Beyond the Rift that CLG will be moving to a new compound in Santa Monica in the near future. And this is actually pretty cool news for the org. Hopefully we'll be able to accommodate more teams or have better facilities for all the players. And with the investment from Madison Square Garden, hopefully we'll be getting to see the benefits for all of the upcoming splits and seasons. There's a lot of speculation on the League subreddit with a Dota team, but it's mostly just players that are saying, hey, these set of players are free, and they're pretty strong contenders if we were to pick them up. And, actually, I do have one last piece of news. Nick Allen was actually named the VP of Esports at Madison Square Garden. So, as previously mentioned, Madison Square Garden has bought out COG, and I want to say that it was nominated that he becomes COO, or the Chief Operating Officer of CLG. And yeah, that's actually all I have for this week. Thanks for listening, everyone. The CLG Faithful Podcast is a weekly podcast that goes over all things CLG. If you like what we do, take a few minutes to follow either me or Artrin on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube to the podcast, or just give us a rating on iTunes and Google Play. We love getting feedback, and if you send us your thoughts over at clgfaithful@gmail.com, we promise to respond. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Oh, and yes, I just want to confirm, yeah, it is Nigel named VP of Madison Square Garden Esports. That's what it was. And he will serve as CLG's Chief Operating Officer. So yes, that's all. Thank you. Bye.